This is something of a return to GoldenEye, where like Tanner's back, Valentine's back.
Yes.
Let me out!
But it's also a return to general Bondness. I know I said last time that Tomorrow Never Dies was return to the Roger Moore era. This is maybe
one
even
feels
more
like
so.
a Roger Moore movie more.
Totally.
Like I totally agree with what Nan said, because every time I watch this movie, once I get to the point where we get to the caviar factory or farm or whatever you want to call it, I'm like, this movie's a Roger Moore movie. Like, that's when I get to that. When I get to that point in the movie, I'm like, this is a Roger Moore movie. This isn't a Brosnan movie.
You got Bond getting caught banging at the end.
007. 007.
If they would have chopped off that boat scene, you would have had a classier movie, but it goes full Roger Moore where it's like popcorn scene.
You're not thinking that. I sure am, boy. Never heard of Evel Knievel.
We have a lot of silly lines from actors and scenes.
Yeah, plenty
and
of quips and jokes.
I came prepared for a cold reception. It was strictly platonic.
You seem to have had a small reversal of fortune.
I have to get it back, or somebody's gonna have my ass.
First things first.
Real quick, let me just throw out the Bond jokes. I picked up on 2.
He was buried with work.
After Davidoff dies. And then the other one, it's not funny, but it's clever.
You wouldn't kill me. You'd miss me.
And then Bond shoots her point blank.
I never miss.
And you don't laugh, but I count that as a Bond joke.
I would also count that. I'd count it as well. I think it's not so much it has to be funny, but it also has to be, it's like the clever, and that is very clever, and it fits really well with the scene and the rhythm of everything that's going on. So I would totally count that.
And then return to Bond walks into the office. Moneypenny's sitting at the desk, framed right. They flirt, and she wants an engagement ring.
And then he shows her a dildo. I mean, a cigar.
I know exactly where to put that.
Close, but no cigar.
Bond goes through M's office and is briefed. You have straightforward ordering vodka martinis.
Vodka martini. Shaken, not stirred.
Bond says Bond James Bond twice. But what's kind of funny is that the first one's classy, like Electra.
Mister?
Bond. James Bond.
And the second one is just kind of flashy and over the top, like Christmas Jones.
So you're a British spy. Do you have a name?
My name's Bond. James Bond.
Just like GoldenEye, there are 2 Bond girls where one's a really hot nerd.
You're such a geek.
But she's, again, this is like porn star level hot nerd to where it's unbelievable. And then the other one is this terrible seductress man eater.
Xenia, I can't breathe. One last screw.
Who likes torture, and literally Natalia and Xenia return in this.
Well, we had talked about before, like even when we were during the Roger Moore era, when they were still like, we've kind of figured out the formula of these movies that the producers were like, okay, in most of these movies, we're going to have 3 girls possibly. And this movie has 3 girls. You got one that's the main good girl. You've got one that's the bad girl that's probably going to get it at the end of the movie. And then you got one girl that's probably going to die or is just like there.
We also have M. They kind of plug M in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting to see. So I don't understand why M is so dumb in this movie. I understand she has a personal relationship with King, but why is she going in the field?
There's also kind of this weird ethical thing with M where it's like, is she abusing MI6?
For her friends?
Yeah, for the gain of her friends?
Definitely.
Old friend.
We read law at Oxford together.
Like, why are they involved in this rich family's business affairs? Like,
yeah, but the other hand, it's like it's an attack on CIA, or not, sorry, MI6. There's an actual attack on MI6, so it's like you're investigating the thing that happened.
But also, King, he's like a Hugo Drax, right? He's like a British
He's an
citizen.
Industrialist. He's an entrepreneur or whatever.
The government has his back because he's going to usher in a ton of oil.
He's going for the oil.
Of course. The one pipeline the West is counting on to supply our reserves for the next century.
That's true.
It is corrupt that M is doing this. It's like a personal favor to a friend, but it's also going to help the country. It's in the country's best interests.
Yeah.
It's no different from, Tomorrow Never Dies, where they're planning fake news in the BBC that's going to help the country. I mean, Bond even says at one point, remember, oh, he's still got the hat. M says at one point, don't make this personal. And Bond says, I'm not. Are you? And she's like, clear the room.